Hey folks, welcome to the rooftop. Trevor here, cheers. So I did an overnight mash last night and I actually shot some footage of that, but unfortunately lost the footage, and so I'm actually going to catch you guys up in this intro. So what I did was I mashed in at about 10:30. It's a Vienna Lager, which is also what I happen to be sipping on now. And the goal was to do two things for the overnight mash. One was to do some insulation on in the cooler, the mash tun, to see if I could reduce the amount of heat loss, and and also to reduce the strike temperature so that I could get the mash temp a little bit lower. So my goal was to get to 150. I got it to 149, so it was about a degree off. And then where you're going to be coming in is where I actually take the reading for the temperature reading the next morning. The other thing I wanted to go over really quickly is the grain bill, because that was some of the footage that I lost. So for this Vienna Lager, I did 4 pounds 13 ounces of Munich. I did 3 pounds 10 ounces of Vienna. I did 3 pounds 10 ounces of Maris Otter, and then 3 ounces of chocolate malt. So the other thing that I did was about 15 minutes into the mash last night, I took a pH reading, and it turned out to be 5.43. And one of the things I was curious about was whether or not the extended mash would change that pH. So that's something else you're going to see is the pH reading that I took the next morning. So hope you enjoy the video. Okay, so it's been about 8.5 hours since we mashed in at that 149, and it looks like we haven't lost a whole lot. We're down to 142, so just 7-degree loss overnight. So half of what the loss was last time. So definitely worthwhile to do the insulation. So now I'm going to take all this off, run this off, and get started with the boil. Just checking our grain bag here, and going to lift that up as well. So pretty clean, pretty clear wort, which is awesome. Just going to lift that up. Let that start to run. Taking a quick pH reading here before we get started. So we're looking at pretty much the same pH. I mean, 5.4, 5.3. The lower temperature may be why we're 0.01 off, but pretty much the same. So no real change on the pH for the extended time mashing. So here's our pre-boil gravity reading. According to the hydrometer, we're about 1052, 1053. I also checked with the refractometer. It was coming in about the same thing. That's probably a little high. Once you factor in evaporation, we're probably going to be a little bit higher for this style for the actual final ABV. But we'll just have to see how the final beer turns out. So obviously with the Vienna Lager, these additions are going to be pretty basic. We're going to be doing 2 ounces of Hallertau at 60. Then at 15, we're going to do a teaspoon of Irish moss. And then at 5 minutes, we're going to do an ounce of Hallertau middle fruit. We're boiling. All right. All right, 15 minutes. Time for the Irish moss. Time for our last addition, 1 ounce of Hallertau middle fruit, 5 minutes. Oh, I just love the smell of it. Alright, so we're cooling. We've got the wort going into the fermenter. We are at, right at 74, I guess. Going through the plate chiller. What I've done a little differently this time is I actually did an ice bath here, and we're using the sub pump to pump it through and cool things off. I think I need one more ice jug, but I'm pretty happy with how this is going so far. Okay, so we ended up getting the wort going into the fermenter at about 72 to 74 degrees, but I ended up running out of pre-chilled water, and so the temperature got up going up pretty high from there. So I ended up letting this sit in the fermenter for a couple of hours to get this down to about 73, which is where it is now. And then I went ahead and pitched the yeast. I'm using the Fermentus Weihenstephaner strain, the 3470. I've never used dry yeast before. Interested to see how this comes out. I've heard good things about this dry yeast, this strain, and I just sprinkled it on top. I didn't rehydrate it. I know that's a best practice. Some people say you should hydrate, others say you shouldn't because you might shock the yeast. So I've never tried it before. I thought I'd give it a try and see how it turns out, and I'm excited to see what the results are. So we'll let this sit in here, 7 to 10 days, depending on what the tilt hydrometer says. It'll let us know when we reach final gravity. I'll let it sit for a few more days to clean up any off flavors, acetaldehyde, that kind of thing, and then we'll keg it from there. So let's wrap up the Vienna Lager video by doing a quick tasting. So I don't know if you can see this in this light, but this is my Vienna Lager. This is a local Vienna Lager by Honky Tonk, and you can see the color of mine is much darker than the color of this one. Now when I taste mine, or on the nose, I get obviously a maltiness. When I taste it, I get this kind of graham cracker, vanilla, cinnamon kind of thing, and it's really enjoyable. But it's too much. It's too strong. The other thing is my beer actually ended up being a much higher ABV. I think it was like 6-ish, and I was shooting for mid 4, 5, something like that. When I taste the Honky Tonk, which I think is a really good example. I also, Devil's Backbone is another one that I like to drink. It's really, really close. It's much more drinkable. It just goes down smooth. It finishes making me want a little bit more. So it's got a little bit of that vanilla thing going on, but it's not overpowering. Mine's almost, I don't want to say cloying, but it's a little bit, got a little too much residual sweetness. I actually this is fun of playing with recipes. So if you like this video, please like the video. If you enjoy watching my videos in general, please subscribe to the videos, and you can see all my videos, all my brew day notes, and all my recipes at welcometotherooftop.com. Thank you.